Hey everybody, another edition of the Youth Entrepreneur Award. This is the semifinal round. Hey Matt, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. How are you doing today?
Great. What's going on in your world?
Well, I was just thinking, I think you'd like this. Got invited to meet with a leadership council from the Ute tribe that it is in southern Utah and Colorado and northern New Mexico. And they just said, hey, what can we do to think differently about our education system for our Native
Hmm.
American children?
Wow.
The districts seem to ignore them. The districts are high percent are labeled special ed, high percent are expelled, just a whole host of challenges that uh, these children on the reservations face trying to engage with traditional education districts. And a friend invited me to join them, and I shared this, mainly the idea we're talking about today.
Yeah.
I said, let's help them think like entrepreneurs and personalize their education. And
Yes.
they all just got so excited about it. They
Fantastic.
said, "Oh, this could help with so many teenagers that are disengaged and
Absolutely.
that have been kicked out of school." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's give them tech certification skills and help them think like an entrepreneur." Period.
That is fantastic, dude. That is, yeah, the part that I'm seeing around this whole entrepreneurship thing, and I really thank you and some of the other folks like yourselves who've really helped me to see this, is that engagement goes through the roof once the child starts to think like an entrepreneur.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's
So
absolutely true.
with that intro, let's bring on our first guest. This is Ahmed from Cairo, Egypt. He has applied and he is now part of the semifinals group. Let's go to that now. Ahmed, welcome.
Hello.
Hey, welcome. And great to have you here. I know we're a long way from home, aren't you?
How many? What is the time for you right now?
It's 10 o'clock for me.
10 o'clock. It's
Yeah,
5 p.m. for me.
5 p.m. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a big world. Well,
Yeah.
welcome. And what we would like to do first, Ahmed, is to have you tell us a little bit about what you're working on, your social entrepreneurial activities, and we want to just give you the floor to be able to tell us and others about what you're working on, and then we'll ask you some questions. Is that all right?
Okay.
Great. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. You've got the floor.
Okay. Hello, I'm Ahmed Gamal from Egypt. I'm 16 years old, and I'm working on a recycling company that focuses on lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. And the problem right now is that there's a shortage of materials, causing manufacturers to not be able to like expand their production and develop more cars, and the price going up of the car. Like it's expected in 2033 to have cars like 125 million cars, but that would be impossible with the shortage. And that's why we need like another solution to extracting these, sourcing these materials, and this is where recycling comes in place. Uh, but the problem is the current recycling way is really inefficient. Its cost is up the roof, and like for example, if you get 1,000 tons of batteries and you recycle them, you only get back 100 kilograms of lithium and 20 kilograms of cobalt. Where did the rest go? That shows how inefficient it is, because they use like ways of hydromology. I can't really spell it right. Pyrotomology and hydromology. It's like using a lot of chemicals and shredding the battery. And I want to fix that by offering a solution with changing the design of the battery to make it easier to dismantle, and we can now access each component by itself to like dismantle each part of it, and it will highly reduce the price of like the battery materials, and that's what I'm working on.
Awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
So I know we talked about this Ahmed a few weeks ago, and you're kind of at an early stage of this business, right?
Yes, it's still in developing stages, finding and learning stuff, connecting with people, trying to connect with companies. Like I tried to connect with Redwood and Oracle, but I still didn't get a reply yet. And like trying to expand my network to learn more.
Got it. Got it. Okay, Matt, any questions for him?
Yeah, tell me about what are some of the requests that you're making of the people you're reaching out to. What's your ask? What exactly do you need from them?
Well, what I usually ask right now is like about how the process is working, what are the biggest problems they're facing, and why that is happening, and like some logistics of like because there's not a lot of data, so I'm trying to understand that. I still didn't get the chance to like ask people about technical questions, and that's what I'm trying to do later. So like I can understand the process more and know what to do.
Got it. So it sounds like you're in information gathering mode. You're trying to learn as
Yes,
much as you can
exactly.
about it, which is smart. And you can't really propose solutions until you really understand more about it. One of my other questions is just how did you get started into this? What made you want to learn about recycling electric batteries?
Okay, well, here in Egypt, I have a problem because like I can't go for a walk or run without like breathing in fresh air. There's a lot of cars, as you could see when you visited it last year. It's a ton of cars everywhere. Gas is coming out. I don't know if you saw the blue buses where it's gas coming, black smoke coming out of it. So like a wish for me is to just have electric vehicles in Egypt. And to do that, I started searching about why isn't it available. Like you rarely see any electric cars in there, and that's how I reached there by searching and knowing and finding the problems. Starting with knowing that there's a shortage. Okay, why is there a shortage? What could I do? And like that, and found out a competition. It was called Rise, and I participated in it. The competition was to like offer solutions to the world. So I participated through it, and at that time I was just like participating as I'm like aiming to win the competition. But after that, I started thinking about it. Okay, but why not? Why can't I do it? So that's why I'm here right now.
Well done. So proud of you. That's exactly what we hope youth do today is be motivated to solve some of these world problems we have. And it takes initiative and some grit. So well done.
Right. So let's go a little bit deeper because we're wanting to understand what you're learning through this experience. Now, clearly, as we've talked in the past, I got a good sense of that. I'd like you to share that with more of the audience. Now, tell me what you have learned through this experience.
Well, throughout this experience, I really learned how to like research and learning about new stuff because that is something we do in school a lot. We are just given notes and we are asked to memorize it and go to the exam, spell it out, then forget it, and to memorize new stuff. So it was kind of a new experience for me to go on searching, learning about new stuff. And I really loved like not only learning about batteries, like what I also did is learning about things in other fields, so I could get like it gives me insights or an idea of what I could do. Because I actually read an article. I don't remember what were they trying to do, but they were in like like really different fields, and they got the idea of how to like to make something work from that field. Um, so that's like learning. And what I also like it helped me during this journey is like gaining confidence in myself, knowing that I'm not just a kid. I can do like I have an important role if I could use it. And like networking with people, meeting them. I have met really wonderful people. I have a friend from Canada. There there's like a space engineer in SpaceX I connected with in LinkedIn, and that's something I never did before. So
So what I'm hearing about what you're learning how to direct your own research and to use a
yes.
variety of different sources for information. So typically in school, when you're trying to research a topic, you're usually just using books, secondary source information. You're going directly to engineers and people who are active in this space, it sounds like, which is primary source information, which is far more valuable, and it's a connection point that you now will have for the rest of your life if you manage it well. So let's go a little deeper. So this is early stage. You're doing research. Where are the barriers? Where are the things, the places that you feel like you're stuck and you need some help kind of breaking through?
Well, my base, I wouldn't say money because, yeah, there isn't a plenty of it, but you could go through that by funding or investments. But what's more of a barrier is knowledge and knowing what exactly you need to do. Uh, but I think I'm starting to get over that by surrounding people of like who has experience in that and these things. I participated in a program called Civics Unplugged, and there's a variety and diverse of like people like me who are interested in the environment, and they really help into understanding what I need to do and directing me. And I'm also applying to TKS. I got accepted, but I still like applying for financial aid. So I'm gonna see what's gonna happen with that. And yeah,
What
it's
is TKS?
the Knowledge Society Hub, if I remember the name
Okay,
right.
the knowledge is okay. Cool. I'll look into that.
Yeah. So yeah, the biggest barrier is knowing what exactly to do, especially that I don't have really a good background in business and like how to run stuff and how is it supposed to work. I never knew how to do that until like a month ago
Yeah.
when he told me that money wants everything, so I need to think of a business plan, and that's what I did. Um, and yeah, and time is a really big issue. uh, I had my mark last week, and it's devastating because, as I said, our system here is just memorizing stuff and solving a ton of past papers. Like I would barely get sleep, so it's hard to get to like balance my school life with my like what I want to do, my projects,
Right.
and that kind.
Right. Yeah, that's not unusual, unfortunately. The term we use, Matt, you may have heard this, is sit, get, spit, and forget.
Yes,
Sit
exactly.
down, you get the information,
That's
you
how
spit it back out, and then you forget it all. That's what. Okay. So, Matt, other questions for Ahmed?
Tell me about people in your immediate area in Cairo that you're working with. I know you've been reaching out to other people around the world. Do you have a team of people that you work with, friends or family in Cairo that you're working with?
actually not. I don't really have anyone I work with in here. Sometimes I talk with my friends. There is a close friend to me. His name is Khaled, and sometimes we would brainstorm together. But there isn't really someone like we really work together. And, like he would just help me in some little stuff, and that's so.
So
So
what
yeah.
are some of this? Yeah, I totally understand that. What are some of the skills of people that you are looking for to help you?
Good question.
Mainly in engineers. I like that's what I need to understand how the like production works and how recycling works, and that's what I'm going to do after my exams. I have a friend who is in engineering school right now. He's studying. I don't know what would you call that section, but it's about electricity and that kind of stuff. I would probably go to the university with him and to like discuss with like students there about like what they learned and like trying to get them to work with me so we could work together and create this. Hopefully, uh, like in recruiting Egyptian people. So like I want to help also my people to work. So
Yeah.
that's something I want to do. And I want to like what I want to have is to have like diverse mindsets, as I said, in different fields. If you get them in one table in one place, the ideas that's going to come out of them, it's huge. because like someone would say an idea and someone in another field would connect it with something. So you would never get that if you just get mechanical engineers and tell them to do something. Nothing innovative will come up.
Interesting. How'd you come across that insight? What made you realize that?
What made me realize that was while I was learning in civics unplugged. There was like an article I read. It's a Harvard Business article about the innovator's DNA, and it
Mm,
talked about how CEOs need to like Steve Jobs. He would go to events that is not related to tech at all. He would go to like an Indian event or like another event, and it shows him how to think outside of the box. It's like how we get. I'll tell you something. Okay, it's how we get the idea for the bullet train. Okay, we looked at nature. We saw how birds have like I don't know what you call it, a beak. Okay, a beak. Okay, it's streamlined, and that's how we got the idea for bullet trains and how the plane looks in general. It's the same kind of thing. It's not related to each other, but you get an idea for it.
Yeah, there's a great book called Range that talks about the depth and the degree of what, well, the range of experiences, the range of knowledge that one has is really a critical skill in the 21st century. So Ahmed, what I would like to do, so we've got about maybe 5 or 10 minutes here. I want to kind of bring some of this, start to bring some of this to closure. So I'm hearing again, your early stage, you've got some barriers. Um, if if uh, if you could go into the future 6 months from now and tell me where you will be 6 months from now, tell me, what's happening with this activity. Tell me what progress you've made, etc. Give me a sense of that.
Um, if I would think of that, I would want to like go on tours, see the factories myself, the recycling plants, to like know how it works. It's something I also read in that article about observing. You need to
Mm-hmm.
first observe what's happening, observe how people work, uh, to see really why is it that inefficient. And after observing, you could connect the dots and make solutions. But if I just stay at my desk working on from the internet, it wouldn't be really useful. I need to go out in the ground myself, see how everything is working.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's tricky given the area that you're in, which is a highly technical space, but that's possible somehow. I'm sure you can figure this out. So let me do some more thinking on it. Maddie, you have any other thoughts for Ahmed?
I want to just learn more, even Ahmed. Why are you spending so much time on this? What is your real motivation?
That's a good question. Um, well, let me think about it. Um, well, like I don't really know. I would always think about myself. Why am I up that late and thinking about this solution? But I just like want to do something for myself. I don't like just studying. It doesn't feel like I have really a kind of purpose. But especially in Egypt, we don't have the kind of mentality that we could do something outside of studying. Our sole purpose is studying. If you want to work outside of that, no, you can't do that. You're supposed to be a student. So it gives me a better sense of purpose that I have a meaning in life. So I could like pursue something and work, meaning making something meaningful that would maybe would live in my name like after I die or whatever, and like later it will be something that will be remembered for me. So like a legacy, or what I mean.
That's awesome,
And
Ahmed. Yeah, Matt, what you didn't hear him say was, "I want a bunch of money."
Exactly.
Right? And that's what I'm really proud of you, Ahmed, is that
Yep.
you want a purpose-driven life and
yeah,
help contribute meaningfully to the world.
Yep.
And I tell you, that's again, I think entrepreneurship generates people think that entrepreneurship is all about money, but it's not. It's about making a lasting impact for good. And we've seen that in teenagers who do this. The engagement is off the charts. They're up at midnight reading about this.
Yep.
They're pondering it. They're talking to people. They're emailing people that don't even want them to email them, and they're asking them for stuff. And that kind of effort is impressive.
And they're risking, and they're risking ridicule. They're okay failing because this process is a long, slow process. I mean, these are all the signs of a life well lived.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, here's a couple thoughts I have, Ahmed. And so, one, we're going to have a gathering of all of the folks who have applied to this this competition, and it'll be a virtual gathering. And so there, you're going to meet other people who, like yourself, are doing these types of things, and maybe you can connect with someone there who might share this interest in this tech space, or who might have connections that can help you. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is the work you're doing is not going to be solved anytime soon. It's big, right? And the numbers of electric vehicles are just exploding, and all those batteries are going to have. There's going to be a huge problem with all those batteries, as you taught me when we talked a few months or a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So the question I would have for you is, where would you focus your learning? And yes, range matters. Yes, having an understanding of the broad spectrum. But I also think that there's a need here to have some focus on where to go and what are the actual needs. And so part of me thinks that maybe a good place to focus might actually be understanding who suffers, who's in pain because of this dynamic with the batteries, right? So the manufacturers are in pain because they're increasingly having to find batteries from places that might be unstable, or places that don't, treat their employees well, or maybe it's just the cost of it. So if you can get to those people who are really animated about the pain, you can start to get a better sense about where the niches are of how you can maybe help to resolve that pain. And it may not be that you are the technical expert, but maybe you start to bring the players together that are needed in order for some of this stuff to happen. So the focus part will be difficult because this is a really big problem and it's not going away anytime soon. So those are two thoughts I have. Matt, I don't know if you've got any thoughts or coaching advice for Ahmed, and then we can close down this part of the conversation.
Yeah, great suggestions, Matt. I'd also ask, part of gathering the right people together is you need a little sub community. Do you have a social media, an Instagram account, or Facebook, or a YouTube channel, where people can gather virtually on this topic and collaborate? Do you have anything like that yet?
No, not yet, but I'll think about it definitely.
Yeah, I think you can invite someone to join your virtual community. Is at least one step closer to gathering the right people together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good idea. Great.
I just have a question.
What's that?
Yeah. A question. Just I wanted to take an advice from you guys about how to network with people, or how to approach people with my idea. That's something I don't know what to do with it.
So I'll jump in first, Matt, and then you can jump in. But when I think about networking, I think about serving. So how can you serve other people? It's really not about you selling your idea. It's about finding where people are in pain and how can you now help them relieve that pain. So that's a service role. The other part of a service role is helping to communicate the problem. So as Matt mentioned, creating a community might be you writing about what you're learning. So you're serving other people by saying, here are some of the lessons I've learned around these problems with batteries. Here are some of the companies that are doing innovative work. Here's some of the individuals that are doing innovative work. And maybe you begin to interview those folks on recording, on a LinkedIn Live or on a YouTube Live, and you begin helping to get information out into the world that serves mankind. That helps you, but it also, and it helps you by building a network, but it also serves. So if you think about your networking always as how can I serve other people, that will come back, that benefit will come back to you. Matt?
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. When you reach out, it's how can I help you, right? And then also be very clear on any asks. Sometimes a lot of people will ask me for X, Y, and Z, and I have really no idea what they're really asking. And so it's hard for me to help them or even respond. But even to Matt's point, your ask could be simply join my podcast and talk about your expertise in this space. Or would you review this article I wrote and see what you think and give me feedback on it? Or, I like the idea of you creating content around this problem area and getting experts to weigh in on the the accuracy of your assessment of the issue and or likelihood of solutions, how good they are, right? And so getting people to weigh in on that creates a collaborative environment that helps people feel like they're part of the solution.
Good advice. Good advice.
Thank you for that advice.
Yeah. Ahmed, you've got another minute or so. Anything you'd like to say in closing? Any last comments or thoughts?
I had a lot of notes about technical stuff we didn't talk about. But yeah, other than the technical stuff I want to say, no, not really.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, listen, Ahmed, the next part of this process is in early May, we're going to announce to folks about the finalists. And between now and then, we're going to be doing these interviews. And so you're welcome to sit in on some of them as they come up. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for your application. Thanks for the work you're doing for humanity. And thanks for doing it because it is a burden on your heart. Not that you're trying to get rich quick or, you're trying to serve mankind. And that's really wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, Matt. So again, I'm reminded I'm just optimistic now about about the future when I meet people like Ahmed.
Well, it's so true. And you and I have talked when we present or when we talk, we often say we want to create self-directed learners who are curious, creative, and motivated to solve the world's problems.
That's right.
And that is a perfect example of why we do this, is try to help young people think differently and become creative, curious, and motivated.
Yep.
And not just by a bank account, but by impacting the world for good. Really exciting.
Yeah, and there's no need for somebody to stand over his shoulder to yell at him and tell him to do the next assignment. He's motivated, right?
Exactly. You don't have to have someone monitoring his participation in it because he's self-directed.
Yep, that's right. I'll tell you, it's amazing how much pushback I've gotten as we're waiting on our next caller who will be here in a couple minutes. Another African, actually. This young man is from Nigeria. But it's amazing how much pushback I get when I say things like young people they are capable of leading their own learning. Adults way too often say they're not. They say that all they're going to do is watch YouTube all day or do TikTok all day. And that's just not been my experience. And for those that it has been, I think it's because they've never been given the freedom to try.
That's what it is that, yes, maybe there's this detox period of controlled, compulsive learning that once you are given a day or two or a week or two to not have that, then that self-directed learning comes in. But yeah, for the first couple of weeks, they might just zone out into computer games or videos or whatever, because they've never been given the opportunity to have the mind space to think on their own.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I've seen it time and time again. You give them a little bit of space and they'll come around to self-directed learning.
Well, for way too many folks that they don't want to give the freedom for even trying that. So
Oh, it's scary to them. It's
yeah,
scary to them to think that 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 weeks, maybe it will turn into 1 or 2 years where they sit in a dark room doing nothing.
yeah, yeah,
But it's just not the case if you can help, because learning is fun.
yeah, yeah. When done
And
right,
that's what we forget to help teach kids, that the process of learning is really enjoyable.
agreed, agreed. If it is self driven,
Yeah.
right? Having someone else tell you to learn is just
When it's forced
deadly,
on you, it's miserable.
right? Okay, so we have our next applicant, and she's in the green room. And welcome. I'm going to bring her on screen now.
Awesome.
And let me adjust your camera here. And did I have that right? Your name there. I knew you had a nickname, but was that correct? What I have there?
Oh, yes, it is. It
Great,
is.
great, great, great. I know it's been a couple weeks since we talked last. So, Abbas, great to see you again, and really excited to hear more and to. Oh, here, Matt. Let me fix your image as well. Sorry about that, buddy. Um, there we go. How's that? That's
Good.
yeah.
Good shot of my ear.
Right. Anyway, Abbas, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you a couple of like a minute to share about the entrepreneurial activities that you're involved with, and then at the end of that time, we'll start a series of questions with you about learning more about what you're working on. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you nervous?
A little.
We'll try not to be. This is hopefully going to be a lot of fun. All
I
right.
will.
Okay. So why don't you start by telling us about the entrepreneurial activities you're doing, and we can go from there.
Okay, but
Okay.
I would like to start first with as in why I got into it in the first place. What's the
Sorry. There you go.
okay?
Okay. Continue.
Thank you. Okay, I said that I would like to start with as in the story behind my entrepreneurial activities.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Abasiono Umoffong. I'm 17 years old and I'm the founder of RevolveNigeria, a social movement that is dedicated to helping young people improve on themselves by utilizing the internet. And this is the story behind the movement. So, once upon a time, I was a typical Nigerian secondary school student, slaving in school for good grades. I had everything planned out, finish secondary school, get good grades, straight to university to study medicine and surgery. Then until there was a strike among the academic staff of all federal universities in Nigeria. It lasted for 8 months, and for me, that was 8 months of thinking about myself and asking myself all the things that I never asked myself before. And why do I want to do medicine? What about all the other things that I'm interested in, the things that I like to do? Am I sure that this is the right path for me? So around that time, I got a laptop and I put it to good use because during the strike, I found out that I didn't really know myself or understand what I wanted to do with my life, what I want to do with my life. So I watched a lot of videos on YouTube and I started to grasp the concept of self discovery and development and how important it is in the growth of every young person. And I also wanted to find out the ways in which I can explore the different things that interest me, but unfortunately, most of what I found were for students who were still in high school and were not above the age of 18. I was not above the age of 18, but I was not enrolled in any institution. And so that was bad news for me, who had just started out on my life at that time. So I go back to thinking and I thought, how did I never know about things like this? And why does everyone, especially universities, expect high school students in Nigeria to have a strong conviction of what they want to study in university when they are not given a chance to explore their interests? Because to me, I see it as a serious problem. Because once you get in, you cannot change your course. The process is very difficult. to say the least. It's very difficult for you to change your course of study. And most of the time, you see students with courses they don't want because, in the first place, nobody goes for, as in the other courses that are viewed as minor courses in the university. So why do schools not also emphasize extracurricular activities, even when it's not a requirement to get into any university in Nigeria? And that brings us to the problem that most Nigerian students are comfortable where they are. Like they are comfortable not doing anything extra outside of their school activities. I mean, academic activities, and they don't have the mindset of change making or impacting. Frankly speaking, anything without monetary gains discourages them. Like they are not interested in it. So since most of us here are young, we are ingrained with the mindset that we are going to school to get a job. We are not actually the job creator. That is the work of the government. We just come out from school, and then we are expected to find a job waiting for us, and that is the beginning of the unemployment cycle. And the consequences of this, people make a lot of bad career decisions. Like I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day. She had started university at the university in our area. So she was telling me that, when you just meet freshmen like you, and you're socializing, you guys are talking, like, and then you ask the person, what are you studying? And then they tell you what they're studying. And then you ask why. And they said, oh, actually, it's not the course that I filled out, but because my score was not good enough, I was given this course. And so then this makes me to think, did you not have did you not already really want something that you wanted to study? Why do you just take something that they give you, even when you don't want it? You're not sure what you can do with it, and that is the problem. They get this degree and then they finish school and then they come out and they're expecting jobs, and then there is a stagnation because with this these people cannot actually become job creators in the future. They cannot move on to start big tech companies like I see a lot of people my age here on LinkedIn are doing. They cannot do as in be creative or make meaningful impact in the society. And then also there's underrepresentation of Nigerians in global challenges and stuff like that. The If there's any presentation at all, it is with the elite students, as in students that pay a lot of money to go to school. The rest of us, we are just there to get a job. So the importance of this problem that I'm trying to solve is because from experience I know that doing something other than doing something that you really like, in essence doing what you want to do, as in doing something apart from reading books, writing exams, it makes you develop yourself. It makes you grow into what you want to become. It helps you find your passion, your purpose, and then you have a better understanding of what you actually want to do with your life, what you want to study, things like that. So for this project, I started it because I found this the rice challenge when I was at a very low point in my life, when I didn't find anything to do with my time. So I found this challenge. I was very happy that for once, like, something is open, I can do something with my time. So I entered the challenge and I had to do research for it. And I went to schools, I shared physical questionnaires, and I saw the problem as in why these students are not doing the things that they are supposed to do. Uh, Many students in the first school, the upper middle class school, they said that their school is boring because there are no extracurricular activities. They stay in school till 5 p.m. every day, doing nothing but reading and writing notes and listening to the teacher draw on and on. The middle class school, yes, there are sporting activities, but not really engagement in things that could help them to find what it is that they are interested in. And the lower middle class schools, that's the public schools, there is just no involvement because of the financial situation. Some of these things you have to pay money to register, and because it's a government school, it has to go through a lot of approvals, and the students are not really enlightened, so there is no participation. So for my solution, I thought of a massive a campaign. So what I did was to print posters. I wrote letters to the schools. I gave them the letters to ask to speak to their students about the importance of finding yourself and really growing. And because most of these resources, they are to be found on the internet. That is the point about developing yourself by utilizing the internet. So only one, they were reluctant. Let me, they were really reluctant to agree to my ideas. So I told you, Mr. Barnes, that I had a schedule to talk to a school that was cancelled and postponed because of the elections. A lot of schools had to close down because I personally I don't get why schools have to close for election, but it is what it is. They closed because of the election, so it has been rescheduled till further notice. So I'm still trying to affiliate with as much schools as I can to let the students know that they can actually make a career out of what they like to do. Not only the professional professions, as I like to put it, that is medicine, accountancy, engineering, stuff like that.
Are you you going? Are you done?
Yes.
We probably should jump in and ask some questions.
Okay. I'm listening.
So first off, Matt, you want to start?
No, go for it.
Well, I was going to say that as you were speaking, I was just smiling because you are so wise. And only, what are you, 17 or something like that? 16 or 17?
Yeah. 17.
17. Everything you said is 100% true. And I can, it's obvious that you care about this. It's obvious that this is something that matters to you. And it's really fun to hear somebody with that kind of energy talking about something that matters. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say the same thing, boss. Is just so impressed with your insights that you have learned about humans, about young people that are stuck in where they are, and they don't realize that they can think differently and move on and find their passions and be excited about life instead of just focused on the very small world of schooling that they only know.
Yes.
So well done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's now get into this a little bit more. I know you have a website that I went to and took a look at. We might be able to share that if you'd like. But I'd like to hear more about how you're going to get this movement moving.
Okay. Yeah, the basic plan is the school's participation. I'd applied for clubs, this kind of self-development clubs, but they told me that it's not going to be possible. In fact, the private school said no, the public school said it's a long, long process, and at the end of the day, they don't think that it will come to any fruition. So I hatched another plan. So when I go to talk to these students, I'm going to tell them that there is a program that I offer that they can apply for. Like, it's going to be sort of a coaching program where, as in, if when they get in, like the first cohort of students, I help them to find things that are like interests, sorry, challenges that are related to their interests, things that they can try out to see if, okay, is this right for me? Like, I've done this, okay, I like it, maybe I can go on with it. Things like that. That's what I do on my Instagram account. The one for this movement, I try to post opportunities like that they can hear of. But the problem with the Instagram account is that I'm not really like the audience, the right kind of audience, are not the people like seeing what I'm posting. So I hope to improve this like the next academic term, when I go to the schools, when I go back, because now the elections are over, everything is calm. I can go back now and talk to them again about my proposal. So this time it's not going to be a club, it's going to be something that is separate from the school entirely. So the school will have no objection to it. So during this program, I teach them about like the things that I know personally. I'm in the process of recruiting two people. It's small, I know, but like those are the people that I found now. They are also part of the Rise Challenge and they are interested in what I do. So we are working together on this program presently to teach them skills like writing emails. Nobody will tell you how important that is, but I've realized the importance of that because I've had to reach out to a lot of people. I remember in school when they were teaching us letter writing, we just used to like look at teacher like, who writes letters? Please teach us something important. But now you see that email is another form of letter writing. So yes, they have to know that things like that are important. They have to realize the importance of having a LinkedIn account. I just recently created one. So yes, they have to know that
Yes.
it's also important. It's part of learning too. It's not only Facebook and Instagram, and LinkedIn is equally important. So I want to help them to find, because in Nigeria most of the competitions here are essay writing, and I have to say it's not everybody that's interested in writing. So let them know of things like the Conrad Challenge, Rise, um, YEA, because if they do something meaningful, they can come on to YEA. There is TKS, there is the School of Humanity, places where they can learn. So I help them get there. I help them with the application process since I've been through some of them.
Yeah. Gotcha. And
Yes, that's
so
that.
you've got, so we'll call those two people that you're working with, we'll call them your first customers, right? That's probably, I know there may not be any compensation, but they're two people you're trying to serve, right?
No, not trying to serve. We are trying to work together.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So they're partners.
Yes, partners.
Gotcha. Okay. Matt, anything?
Yeah. Do you have your first cohort of students? Have you helped? How many students have you helped already, or is it still zero?
It is still zero because I have to go back next term. I said this that a lot of my plans were cancelled because of the elections, so I have to go back next term, which is in May, to start afresh.
Gotcha.
Do you think there is any opportunity for you to help virtual students around the world? Like if you connect through LinkedIn or
Okay.
Instagram, can you create a virtual cohort?
Yes, now no, this virtual cohort thing is part of the plan. So the plan was that when I get this first physical student, it is going to be an online session because I cannot be there physically every time because I will have to travel sometime during this summer. So yes, after the success with the first cohort, then I can now, like, it will now be an online application thing where they apply online, and yes, the classes will be virtual, the sessions will be virtual.
I I am I am so a lot of times when you're starting a business, whether it's a social business or a for-profit, getting that first customer is the hardest thing. The first one is the hardest thing. And so I wonder, what would you do? What are some of your ideas to get the first customer? And again, not saying that they're paying you, but the first person that says, "Yes, I want what you're offering of us." What would you do?
There has been one person, I mean, there is one person from the school in my community where I talked to. He's their senior prefect there, and he was really enthusiastic when I came to talk to them about what I'm doing. So there was this opportunity that I found out about called Build Nigeria that gives scholarships to students from low income background to study abroad, and they also have a summer program. It's like a summer school, summer research program. Yes, to help with the extracurricular parts of, yes, the application to US colleges. So I told this one person. So we are working on the application process.
Great. Then how will you get the second customer?
The second customer.
Yes.
Okay, I plan to get them through these talks that I want to give to the schools. Like the second school, the deal was already done and sealed. A date was set, but then they had to close impromptu because of the election. So I've been assured by the principal that I will come back the next term to talk to them. Like it's always
Okay.
on Fridays that they are free. So I can be assured that the first Friday of the week of that term, I can come and talk to them. It has been approved by the senior management of the school, so there's no problem with rescheduling it. So I know because my brother goes to the same school and he's a senior prefect there, so he's in the management meeting. So he tells me whatever decision that they take. So, and he has also told me that it's actually really good because there are really, really people with good, like with potentials there, that are locked down by the policies of the school, because that's the school that I went to where there are no extracurricular activities. Like I cannot, like no sports, no clubs, Nothing. Like you just finish school and then all you have is your transcript. That's all.
Got it. Okay.
Hey, tell me, Abbas, about the partners that you work with. What kinds of things are they doing with you?
Okay, so the first person I met on the Rise Discord server, she's also part of the Rise Challenge. She was looking at it from a different approach, from the approach of school dropouts, like students dropping out of school because they don't feel like the university degree does anything for them. That is equally part of the bad career decision thing. So I talked to her yesterday about the collaboration. So we have agreed on this program of students applying and it being a virtual thing so we can work together. So what we are waiting for is like for the rise thing it to be over so that as in the finalist this thing to be published so that we can now merge and really do something because we have talked about it and we came up with this idea together, the idea of this cohort student things.
Nice. How about your other partner? You said there was two of them.
Okay, yes, I've not yet talked with. I have a session with that person after this,
Got
but we
it.
have not yet talked about. The person just showed interest in what I was doing and said she said that she would like to discuss uh what I'm doing to see if we can collaborate.
Yeah. Abbas, you need to get in front of as many people as you can. I think you're
I realized that.
yeah, I think, and that could be social media or face to face. I think you are infectious. Your energy is such that I think people are going to want to learn more about what you're working on. And so, to the degree you can get in front of as many eyeballs as humanly possible, I think that's going to be a good thing. You're also a passionate speaker, and that will only get better as you do it more. So we've got about 8 minutes before we need to sign off here. And so let's really focus on the next 8 minutes on where you're going and specifics about how you plan to get there. And we may be able to give you some coaching about some of that as well. So we talked a little bit about the first and second customer. You're going to be speaking in front of a school or two. What else?
Okay. Then I plan on utilizing social media, building a social media identity, especially on LinkedIn, so
Okay.
that I can get so that I can form a network of people like me that I can learn from. Um, the social media is to reach out to more people as I progress, so that more people be aware of what I do. The the specifics of how I plan to move on from here. I've talked about the talk and social media. The
And
only problem,
yeah, go ahead.
you
Sorry.
were,
Go ahead.
okay, so the only problem that I have is funding and disinterest because um, so many young people like they think that it's uncool to be so invested in something, to be very ambitious. Like I experienced that when I was in school. So I plan to as in to pick their interest by telling them that they can turn what they love into a career. It is not something that is out of this world. So about the funding, yeah, that is the only problem. That is the only thing I haven't quite figured out a solution to.
Okay. Well, I think there's some coaching that Matt and I and others can give you to help on some of this. I think there's other ways that we can explore that. But Matt, go ahead. We've got about 5 minutes left. So any other questions you have?
What do you need funding for? What would you spend it on?
Okay, funding first. I would spend it on transportation to the schools, a public address system. I really need one because the last school that I went to, they did not have a public address system. So I had to like shout at the top of my voice to the students to make sure that they like they hear what I'm saying. So I realized that I will in the future have to go to many more schools like that. So I would really like to get a public address system. So I need money for internet connection also. Yes, I don't have stable internet connection. That is part of the thing that affects my consistency on this project. I also need money to help, as in some of these programs that I'm talking about now, they are paid, and sometimes the financial aid that they offer does not cover every single cost. So part of this funding that I need is to help these students pay for these programs that I'm going to help them apply to. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, so again, we've got about 4 minutes, and I just want to not go over. I know, Matt, you've got a hard stop. Abbas, what are some of the other questions or thoughts that you'd like to give to us in these last couple of minutes? Either this can be your kind of last, your last pitch, your last kind of thoughts, or you could ask us questions. What would you like to do with the next couple of minutes?
Questions
Okay.
about funding. So how do you suggest I go about raising funds? Like something that is sustainable, like something maybe I can turn to a business that generates profits solely for this purpose.
Matt, you want to start?
One idea is to go find a business in your town who is looking for more customers and help them become a sponsor of a student going through your cohort. So you approach a business that wants their name or their brand or their services be known amongst teenagers in that area, and see if they want to sponsor one or two youth to be mentored by you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's a great idea. And then when you're speaking, you can tell who's sponsoring your work, and that it brings more customers to the sponsor.
Oh, thank
Good
you.
idea, Matt.
The second one, have you make a note to check out outschool.com? Have you ever heard of that organization?
No.
Outschool.com is a platform for anyone who wants to deliver live classes on the internet to worldwide students. I think you have a message that would resonate with many students on that platform, and just create a little mini course on self-discovery, on learning what you're passionate about, and come up with some projects and ideas that you already are using, and teach a little mini class on OutSchool for a fee. And you can use those dollars to help fund in-person activities in your city.
Okay.
I like that too. So, Abbas, we were about to run out of time, and so let me cut off your questions and remind you that in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a gathering of all the applicants. And in that gathering, we're going to have a couple of entrepreneurial coaches that have volunteered to help give some advice. And so keep coming up with more questions like you just asked, and then you'll get more opportunities to ask about them and to meet other young people like yourself who are driven to create change that they want to see in the world. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
this has been great. It's wonderful meeting you, and we look forward to talking with you more later, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Keep up the good work, Abbas. You're great.
Thank
All right.
you. You
Take
too.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. How do I...
Wow, I really liked her. I know you got to
It's
jump.
almost like she listened to our chat in between the students, right?
It seems
We literally said some of those exact same things,
Yeah.
and then she jumped into it of engagement and
Yes.
motivation
Yes.
and
Purpose.
purpose. Really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so It's right at the top of the hour.
Yep.
Thanks for joining, Matt. We'll talk more later. If you've got more time, feel free to hang out. But we should have the next guest actually as we speak. He just arrived.
I'll
So
say hello and then drop off.
okay, cool. Let me bring him in. Actually, I don't know if I have the two of us in the same. I don't think we have all three of us.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, Pleasant. Hey, how are you, man? Can you hear Matt and I?
Yeah, sure. I can hear you. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yep. We can.
Hi,
Hey,
Pleasant. How are you? I'm going to drop off, but nice to meet you.
All right, sure. Nice to meet you too.
All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Take care of yourself, buddy.
You too. See ya.
All right. Hello, Pleasant. How are you?
Doing very well. How are you doing today?
Very well. Very well. It's good to meet you. So today, I'm going to give you some time to tell us about you and tell us what you're working on, and then after that we will talk we'll have some questions for you. All right.
All right.
Okay. So I'll give you the next kind of 2-3 minutes or so to tell us about your entrepreneurial journey, what you're working on, and then we'll on the back end we'll have some questions for you. All right.
Yeah.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
You have the floor.
All right, sure. I am Balogun Pleasant, 17-year-old, and I am the CEO at Zeddpay, an African startup that is providing utility to airtime in Africa. So what we noticed 2 years ago was that there was this asset, or Africa's largest prepaid asset, airtime. Um, but it wasn't doing more than just making calls or accessing the internet. Um, so we felt like we could empower it, or as we like to call it, give it superpowers to do more than just make calls. And the reason why we thought that is because it's available to everybody. So we felt like, yeah, sure, why not just like empower it to do more? So we started with purchases to our direct customers, make payments with airtime. We launched our private beta 6 months ago, and now we are on the journey to providing this infrastructure to not just customers but businesses as well. So basically, at ZP, we just provide utility to businesses and direct customers for airtime. Yeah, that's pleasant, and that's what I do.
Okay. Now, I'm a little confused because I don't know this. Oops. Sorry, I keep messing up the assignments here. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. And let me adjust
Sure.
this camera angle a little bit here. Okay. So you said that you are taking the asset. See, you're in a space that I just don't understand very much. Can you explain that again about what it is that you're doing and how it works?
All right, sure. So in Africa, we have something called mobile credit or
Mo-
airtime.
Mobile credits.
Mobile,
Okay.
yes,
What does
yes.
that mean?
Oh, all right. It's like an asset from our ISPs, or our internet service providers here in Africa, um, that we just recharge it on our mobile phones and we use it to make calls
Oh,
or
I
access.
see.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, gotcha. So those
Yeah. So it's
assets, what
sorry.
happens then?
Yeah. So what we do with that is we also let it make purchases as opposed to just making calls or accessing the internet.
Oh, so you could buy your groceries or
Exactly. Your bills.
interesting.
Yes.
And so how many dollars on these prepaid or these credits are we talking about?
How many?
Yeah.
I did not get your question.
Okay. How many credits
Okay.
how many dollars in assets are out there unused?
So last year or in 2020, I'm trying to pull up exact figures.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
I mean, just estimate. It doesn't have to be perfect, but
All right. Sure. Um, about $8 billion worth of airtime was like spent across Africa in 2020. Um, and over the years, we've recorded billions of dollars of like airtime lost because of um, there is no utility for it, right? So imagine a case where you purchase airtime from a fintech or your bank, right? You don't get credited, or you overcharge your airtime or something like that. Most of it just goes to waste, right? So billions of airtime everywhere. Exactly. Billions of
I
airtime.
see.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
so now you're taking that unspent, unused asset and you're making it available in other places as well, so people don't lose that asset.
Exactly,
When
exactly.
did you have this idea?
Uh, in 2020, after high school, immediately after high school, my final year. Yeah.
And was this something that you came up with individually?
Yes, yes. Then I met up with a friend who is now my co-founder as well.
And this was in 20 what now? 2019 you said?
2020, 2020.
2020. Okay, so in the middle of the pandemic you were doing this, huh?
Exactly, exactly. Yes.
Okay, and so tell me about that journey. So you had this idea, you were working with your partner. How did that business then begin to develop?
All right, thank you. So before that, I sold a tool I built, a developer tool I built to a company, right? And I just like gotten my first dollar off the internet, right? And I just wanted to make a Spotify purchase, but then I couldn't because our cards were not working, and my friend's card too was not working. So like we just felt like this is the problem we personally wanted to solve back then. So in 2020, when we started discussing about this idea, it was just to solve our problems that time. We did not think we would be providing like infrastructure to businesses like in 2023, right? So we just ensured we gathered a team, or a team rather, from Facebook. So it was Facebook back then. A team of designers, engineers, or developers rather, to help us come build this startup out. So we started development in 2021, right? Just to like build an MVP, or minimum viable product. Went on a private beta last year, about 8 months ago.
You went private, you said? A private business?
Yeah, private beta. Like the products went on a private beta.
A bit, what is it, the last word you said? A private what?
Beta,
I don't,
beta.
it sounds like a technical thing. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Or like a phase of the product where you're only launching to this set of people.
Oh, beta. Sorry. Gotcha. I understand now. Okay. All right. So that was this year, 9 months ago, you did the beta.
Yes, yes, last year.
And how did that go?
Yeah, it was fantastic because in just 3 weeks we were able to launch to about 1,500 people, and over $40,000 worth of transactions were
Wow.
performed on our platform. Yeah.
And when you did that, who was helping you with the infrastructure and the finances and the legal? Like who was helping you with all this?
Okay, so for the finance, we basically leveraged like a partner, a business partner, to handle some of those, like paying customers' deposits, sometimes withdrawals and things like that. But for the legal aspects, we actually got a startup lawyer after we started our first round, also last year, to help us just ensure we're doing this correctly.
Okay, so you had the beta project 9 months ago, and you had a couple thousand people who joined in and liked the service. Then what happened?
Yes. Then we basically shut down, right? Because we couldn't handle the demands. We were relying on our providers, and we just wanted to, like, for a few months, sit down and build this by ourselves, right? At least the bare minimum infrastructure, so we don't have to rely on other people, because we were losing so much money to these providers, and our customers started complaining, right? So we basically built the mobile application, which we just launched publicly last week.
And how did you build the mobile app?
So the team of developers, of course. Then we found a creative solution to not leverage our provider. So we decided to go P2P, right? So we have express P2P and just like the direct P2P for airtime utility. So that's just all technical related.
That's pretty amazing. And how old are you?
I am 17. I'll be turning 18 in a few months.
And so, are you in school?
No, I'm not in school.
your school is your entrepreneurship, right? I mean, that's
Okay.
yeah. You're. It sounds like you're learning everything: legal, finance, technical, customer experience, etc. Yes.
Yes, of course.
So tell me, give me a story about one of the best lessons you learned in this experience, like something that would not have been learned any other way, or something that surprised you. Give me a story about that.
Okay. So I think I have a good one. Before starting like a company with Zeddpay, I always like approach things from a product perspective. Like, okay, I'm trying to build this app, or I'm trying to build this tool. So what's like are the technical requirements for it? But we starting a company, it's a lot different because now I had to think about that. I would be basically leading a team of 10 people. I would be handling finances, or at least now I have to handle finances. And I was like never really into maths back then, but now I had to start learning some math things. Then also with the business in general, like determining the company valuation, raising around, talking to investors, things like that. Are things that I never would have like dreamt of like dealing with. So with a business or running a company, it has just like exposed me to a lot more. As you mentioned, like my education, right? This is pretty much it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you need much more education. You're learning everything that you need for life right now in real time. All right, so you went through the first round of startup funding, and how much were you able to earn?
So it was an angel round, and we raised $70,000.
Fantastic. And that was the first round.
Yeah, our first round. We are
And
currently on our second round.
what did you do with that money?
So we got professionals. Of course, we had to pay over like the past 7 months. Also with our legal expensive, that cost us a lot. Um, and verifying our users on our platform. So it's KYC, or know your customer, right? We had to pay for that too, and we had to pay like according to the service provider we were using, like pay like 1 year upfront, right? So that was expensive too. Yeah, so we just had lots of these bills to ensure that we could scale when we
Yeah,
decided to like go live again. Yeah.
yeah. And now you're doing a second round. You said
Yes, of course, I'll proceed.
when is that round starting, or when is it concluding?
So it started last week, right? Started talking to investors last week. Around that time, that's why I applied to YEA as well. I sent you the video. But then we expect this round to take about 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's just more of the same. So now, if you get this new monies, then you'll be able to grow and maybe go to another market and continue to expand.
Exactly. And then launch for businesses because we want to be more business focused than customers focused, like directly going forward.
Yeah. And then is your product only for Lagos, or is it something that's other cities as well?
So every city right here in like Nigeria, you can use it.
Okay.
But then as we grow, we are expanding outside Nigeria. Yeah.
Gotcha. How many users now?
So we have about 850 users from last week.
Okay. And so are you seeing steady growth in the user adoption?
Yes, we are, but then we feel like we want to. I mean, we are not going out on like marketing because we discovered some like issues in production that we just wanted to provide a stable infrastructure for like the few users we have before we scale.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to market and have a bad product, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So the
Got.
infrastructure for customer success, we want to build that down, so we don't have to worry about it that much as we scale.
So what role do you play in the business?
I am the CEO and I am also the CTO, right?
Okay.
Um, so aside regular like talking to investors and business, I mean business plans, things like that. I also handle the entire technical team. So we have a team of security experts, developers, designers rather. So I basically supervise that, and sometimes, yeah, I write code for the product itself.
Did you know all this before you started this business? Did you know coding or some of this stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned that I sold like a CLI tool I had in high school, so I was pretty much used to writing code and building products.
Gotcha. Okay, so you had, and how did you learn that skill?
YouTube actually. I watched lots of YouTube videos on my mom's phone because back then I didn't even have a phone of my own, right? So I had to watch YouTube videos on our phone. I went to the cyber cafe too after school to learn. Then I had a mentor in high school as well. So all of that just helped me learn.
Wow, that's
Yes.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you seem pretty relaxed, but man, I tell you, that is a great story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so and then what is your partner? What role does he play in this?
All right, so he's the COO or Chief Operating Officer. So basically, he does everything but the product, right? So human resources, marketing, he
Finance.
handles that exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And did he learn all those skills in the job or beforehand?
I think it's like a mix of both because before we started the company, he had already started watching some like Y Combinator videos.
Hmm.
Um, so working with the startup, we just had to like use those things he learns practically. Yeah.
So what makes you guys different? Why are you doing this? I mean, and your peers are not. What's different about you guys?
We feel like we just have the guts to do it honestly because it's like it has been a very ignored space over like the past decade. Nobody wants to touch dealing with the ISPs because we're in like a very or heavily regulated space,
Hmm.
right? So we just felt like we are the only set of people that can actually pull it off, right? uh, so yeah, that's why we're doing it.
And so you mentioned you have the guts to do it. You have a level of fearlessness, maybe.
Yes,
What
yes,
did
100%.
so 4 years ago? Were you thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? I guess you had a business that you started and sold, correct?
Yeah, of course, a
And what was
product
that one
company.
about again?
So it was a developer tool or a CLI tool for technical people, right?
Okay,
So it was just like a little program for developers, so like engineers like me, to be able to get their work done faster. And I sold
nice.
this to like a developer company. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. What do you think is the biggest barrier between now and and your future? What is the part that keeps you up at night?
I think that's like a good question. It has to. I mean, I mentioned regulations, right? The way
Yeah.
we also think about regulations, as well as not running out of money. Honestly.
Right. Yes. Wow. And then what about your parents? What did they think about as you started getting into this entrepreneurial space? Were they nervous that you wouldn't go to college? What happened?
We were very nervous and we were very skeptical about it, right? Because I have never left home in like since forever,
Yeah.
right? So they were scared because they wanted me to go to school, um, get a degree and things like that. But when you started seeing, like for instance, when I sold my first product, when my cousin called my mom and told her about what I was doing, and now I was even helping her out, things like that just like got them to see things from a different perspective, and they started supporting. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And are you taking investors from outside of Nigeria?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Our biggest check was gotten from an investor outside Nigeria.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we're going to circulate some of this interview, and so hope maybe some folks will reach out to you. How do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
It has to be my email address,
Okay.
pleasant@zp.com. Double
Got it.
D.
I'll include that. I'll include that on the videos that go out. And are you writing much about? Or I guess you're pretty busy, so you probably don't have a lot of chance to write about what you're working on. But are you having any kind of social media or any sort of storytelling about your experience?
Yeah, of course, of course. We have a Medium. page.
Ah,
Exactly, and we have Twitter where we talk about what we're building a lot.
gotcha. Would I look under your name, or how do I find that Medium page?
Just search for like the brand ZP,
Zeddpay.
ZEDD. Yes,
Gotcha.
POI.
Zeddpay. Got it. Got it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm impressed.
Thank you so much.
And your parents are now saying, okay, this may be a good idea after all, huh?
Yes, yes, yes.
Good. Well, great. And then, have you? Okay, let me get into your business a little bit more. So, how much of the money that comes in are you putting back into the business? Is it all of it? Is it part of it? Are you buying a new car? Are you, uh, you know, getting the latest outfit?
I mean, absolutely not. I think I personally have not even gotten paid in about 2 months. So it has been just the business and ensuring this like doesn't die and we can go from here.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So I hope that young people who just heard that statement are reminded that starting a business is never a get rich quick idea. Never. I've never seen a single entrepreneur who got rich as an entrepreneur quickly. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs who have gotten rich slowly, or they didn't take any salary for a few years, and then all of a sudden, they went public, and then they made their money. So it sounds like you've got your head on straight. Who's giving you advice and coaching around this space? Like who helps you with this?
Now, I think I have a couple of founder friends, right, who have their own startups. So I just like text them whenever I have an issue and just help me resolve it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know I wouldn't know where to start, like because you're so far ahead of anything I could imagine for myself or people I know. So, what I will mention to you, and it may not be of that much use to you, is we're going to have a gathering of young entrepreneurs that applied to this program, where there's some coaches and things like that. You're so far ahead of where most young entrepreneurs are that it may not be a great use of your time. But if you'd like to participate in that, I would love to have you, and maybe even give you some space to share more about what you're doing and help maybe spread the word a little bit. I know we've got a couple of folks in Nigeria who have applied, and other parts of Africa as well. But I'm impressed. I'm amazed. I want to give you a high five virtually, and I wish you the very best as you go forward. Any questions for me?
Thank you. Nothing really. I just wanted to appreciate you for taking the time out to talk to me. Um, yeah, is this going to be streamed live anywhere so I can share it with anybody?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you'd want,
Yeah, this is
I can send you a copy of the interview if you'd like. You can use it yourself for anything you'd like. All right.
sure, sure, sure.
Okay.
My mom would
So,
like to say this.
oh, I'm sure, and I tell your mom that I'm proud of you, and I'm hoping she's proud of you as well. So, two more questions, and then we'll close up. The first is, as you've been going through this experience, are there don't tell me what they are, but are there other businesses that you're going, that may be the next business I tackle? Or are you seeing other things that you could solve through entrepreneurship?
Of course, of course. Yeah.
Good, 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 good. That is one of the things I also want young people to realize, is that once you start getting into the entrepreneurship space, you start seeing opportunities all over the place. And it's just a matter of which one you want to do next. But I can anticipate that at some point, what you're working on with Zeddpay, reaches some conclusion, and then you're off to the next thing, and you're learning about a completely different space and different challenges, etc. So that's part of the excitement about being an entrepreneur. And then the last question maybe is, what have you liked most about your journey, and what have you found the most difficult about your entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, okay. I think what I like most about this is like solving problems and reaching people like with actual daily problems and just ensuring that you're able to solve this maybe tiny thing in their like daily struggles, right? You're able to make their work a lot easier, or a lot simpler. And just seeing that smile on their face or that thank you tweet they make at us, it just like keeps me going. So yeah, customers feedback a lot help me. Well, I think what I have disliked would be just like I think it's the space in general, right? People who do this are like a lot older than me, so they're like adults. So when I'm trying to talk to them, or sometimes when I'm trying to like reach out to them, they might not be as like open as you are right now. So exactly. So
Yes,
that's not.
that's part of what we hope to change. That when an adult looks at a 17-year-old, they don't think about someone who's not capable. They think of that 17-year-old as having ideas and energy and fire in their belly. And how can we release that? How can we find the thing that makes you excited and you go off and do something amazing like what you have already done? I'm hoping that adults can hear stories like this and start to look differently at 16, 17, 15-year-olds, 13-year-olds, etc. So,
Yeah.
well, I wish you the very best, and we'll circulate this. Follow me on LinkedIn, and we'll make sure that you'll hear some of that messaging that's going out. And so, I wish you the best. Here, let me tell you again about the next phase of this process. So, for the next until early May, we're going to be interviewing semifinalists, and then on May 13th, we're going to announce the finalists. And then May 20th and 21st, there's a finalist presentation like this, but a lot shorter, where you will be asked to be there virtually and share your story. And if you're on the finalist list, then you will get that opportunity to share with that audience. All right. And again, one of the things that you should be aware of is that several of the folks that are paying attention to this award are investors and folks who are wealthy but are trying to coach young people exactly like you. Really, you may be even further along than they are thinking about, but they're people who are looking to help young people move to the next level. So it's possible that through this you'll get connected with some folks that can help. I don't have any connection with them, so you have to decide if they're the right partner or not. But just so you know, there's some people who are paying attention who are looking for investment opportunities and things like that. So, all right.
Thank you so much.
Hey man, thank you. I am motivated I'm motivated to talk to more young people and see if they can follow your path and your example and become entrepreneurs in their teens. So, congratulations. More to come. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And for the rest of folks listening, that's it for today. We will see you next week, same time. Take care.